Look at what my team has done. Salah's disappointed and I know he ain't the only one. Qualifying for the Champions League is a bare minimum. 7-0, felt like 6 and I got and run. 4-1, Chelsea, what have they become? All that money, but it shows that you just can't buy anyone. Modric, Chelsea, put in for a healthy sum. Looking back at it, he's been more terrible than anyone. Such a shame, City win the treble, then it's Hall of Fame. If we let it happen, then we only got ourselves to blame. Anthony's looking like he's missing for a vital game. Couldn't tell what happened, but it's looking like an ankle sprain. I was there, trying to spare him on, like it's Harry Kane. Dark times, but it brightened when we won the game. De Bruyne, world class, him and Bruno not the same. Bruno's got his own style with a different lane. That's a lonely fan. Liverpool when they got to travel to play Michelin. Yo, this is the OT99 Banter Room where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. We're back again with another show. It's your boy Therms. I'm a lonesome and today I'm going to wrap up the game. Manchester United 4, Chelsea 1. Manchester United have finally qualified for the Champions League and put this top 4 race, quite frankly, to bed. We should have put it to bed a long time ago. But now we have totally ended Liverpool's dreams. Their little run, they were getting excited. All the fans started to pipe up, but we finally just put them to sleep. Look, you can't drop that many points, have that dead performance and try and make us look like bottlers at the end of the season. We're not having it. Look, Newcastle went through and Manchester United followed. And quite frankly, Manchester United stood as a job to do because 1, we've got to finish 3rd and 2, we've got to get another title against Manchester City in the FA Cup final at Wembley. But let me get onto the game. Look, let me start off with a positive news for Chelsea because it's not all positive actually. I would say the one positive for Chelsea is the fact that, now let me say 2, there is 2. So 1, Lewis Hall, Chelsea's left back, that youth Lewis Hall, I feel like he had a really good performance. I mean, it's a shame that he didn't get a couple assists because the ball that he put through to Havertz literally was on a plate. Havertz goes and heads it wide. The ball that he put through to Modric was on the plate. Modric, I don't know what he done. If he took his eye off the ball, tries to open his body side for it, it goes wide. Like, he didn't make that contact with it. Lewis Hall had a really good delivery. I'm surprised that he even had any joy on Wan-Bissaka's side because he usually, actually, that weren't Wan-Bissaka's side. That was, no, what's Wan-Bissaka's side? And, you know, and once Aaron Wan-Bissaka don't usually give anyone joy on his area. But I guess he might have been out of position a couple of times and Lewis got some joy off that. So, you know what? It's a shame that he wasn't able to get a couple of assists on the night against Manchester United. It's a shame that the forwards that was on the receiving end of that ball just couldn't find the back of the net. And it's been Chelsea's story all season kind of. And it's they just don't score enough goals and they just had a terrible season, man. Bottom half of the season after spending God knows 600 million is just a catastrophe. And I think Lampard was alluding to it in the interview, post-match interview that he said about that he gave about the lack of commitment, in other words, that the Chelsea guys are showing in training. There was a lot to unpick. There's a lot of things that he didn't say, which was just, you know, screaming loud with what's going on at Chelsea. And I feel like for him, he was talking about, you know, pre-season, the manager needing time to look at this team and literally, in other words, get rid of the deadwood, those guys that are not committed, you know? And for me, it's just, it was saying a lot. But the other positive I would say is, like in that game, look, this game could have been a totally different game in the first half. Like I said, you had all of those chances that Chelsea missed. This game could have been 3-1 in the first half, and then we're looking at a completely different game. Gallagher, he had his opportunity where it just skimmed across the post. Like, I was literally, when he hit that, I thought, like, you know, it was really close to going into the far bottom corner. And yeah, it could have been a totally different game. And if your 3 goals up, I mean, you know, we're probably looking at this a totally different result at the end of the 90 minutes. So look, it just goes to show that Chelsea is in a similar position in a way in terms of their forwards like Manchester United. Manchester United is obviously got a sharpshooter in Rashford. He's gone a bit quiet of late, but we've got a sharpshooter in Rashford there. But you know, Chelsea need a forward. They need a certified striker. They've got Lukaku out on loan in Inter, having the best time of his life, smoking cigars, getting ready for a Champions League final against Manchester City. I hope you do the job, by the way. And then, you know, you've just got this Aubameyang, who they don't play. They haven't, you know, he was doing bits for Barcelona, but for some reason can't find his rhythm at Chelsea. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Chelsea's got Nkunku coming back, and they're probably going to go in for Osimhen, I would say. And that can change the whole outlook of Chelsea's team, because to be fair, they've got the quality star players, they've got the components. Now they probably just need a manager to come in and knit it all together, and that might take some time. But look, they've got a team where they've got quality around that team, and if you find the right manager, like Tuchel, for example, I think he would have been the right guy. Certainly, if he didn't win a Premier League or something, he would have taken them in a couple of cup runs where, you know, they probably got an FA Cup, a Carabao Cup, a Europa League if they finished in that position, or maybe even get to the latter stages of the Champions League. Like Chelsea, this is what they do. They win trophies. They've been winning trophies over the past decade. They may not look great one season, then the following season, they go on to win something. They sack their manager, bring in a new manager, and that's what they do. So for me, I think they've got the components. They just need a manager to make it all knit and gel together. But done with Chelsea, let's talk about Manchester United. Look, Manchester United. Let me start off with Casemiro. Look. Casemiro. Look, people talked about Casemiro being kind of done, only coming for the P's, comparing him with guys like Thomas Partey. Look, I said it before and I'll say it again. You saw just the game before Casemiro doing an overhead bicycle kick. Today, you're seeing Casemiro, you know, running onto the end of the cross from Eriksen, getting ahead of the ball. Look, Casemiro's he's one of the better finishers at Manchester United, believe it or not. He's one of the better finishers at Manchester United. When Casemiro strikes that ball, like he hit that ball from outside of the box, yeah, the way he hits it, the attackers, yeah, is so clean, low, and it's just traveling with speed. I think the last guy that I remember hitting the ball like that with so much cleanness and vim was probably like Yaya Toure or something like that. He just hits it, drills it, it's flying. Yeah, and that shot just goes wide. But you know, he scores that nice clinical header, and you're just like, yes, we needed that. We needed that early goal to set the tempo. We needed it to settle the crowd. We needed it to give us that confidence boost. And Casemiro's done it. He shows up in crucial times. Do you know what I mean? He showed up against Chelsea when we got that late equalizer, 94th minute or whatever it was. It was Casemiro that was the one that scored that looping header. Casemiro has come on leaps and bounds. You know, he had a little dip. But him, you know, he's now stepped up to the plate, and he's showing us why he's the best DM. He's the best DM in the world. Look, he's got about 7-8 goals or goal contributions or more to his name right about now in all competitions. And for me, Casemiro, man, he's stepped up in important, crucial times, man, and he's helping us get a step closer to having those glory days back, man. You know, Casemiro is putting an absolute shift. He's back. He's looking like the Casemiro that was at Madrid. He was looking like the Casemiro from when he just started to find his feet at Manchester United, before he started getting the red cards and getting sort of disciplinary actions taken against him and getting all of those games missed. Look, he's coming back into form, man. And this is the Casemiro that we need to see in the FA Cup final. Because if you've got to stand any chance of winning that game, we all know that Casemiro has got to be on it. He's got to be on smoke. Because if he's not on smoke, the midfield's a myth. You know, we ain't got no progressive, supportive passing going forward from anyone else other than Bruno Fernandes. And there ain't going to be no one to shield the defense like Casemiro. So we need him on his 10 toes. And he's doing just that, Casemiro, man. Look, that blind pass, though, that he put through to Sancho was a joke. Literally, he was there like, boom. Look, Casemiro is on a madness. Complete madness. And I'm happy for Sancho. He took that ball well. He's got a lot of composure, man. passes it over to Martial, and Martial scores another tap-in. Martial seems to be in the right place at the right time at times, which is good. That's the natural striker's instinct. I just wished Martial was more readily available, man, and wasn't as injured as much, but it was there to score the tap in. I like to see goals like that, not just worldies, and Martial done a good job there. And Sancho, like in the box, like I was talking in the last pod, you know, when he's in the box, he has that composure to find a man. We saw when he went on a little run, a little dribbling run, and he was like, you know, taking his time. You're thinking he's going to shoot. He does a little feint. He tries to create more space. Ultimately, the shot that he got off Sancho was blocked. But he's just got that extra bit of composure in the box. He'll floor a guy, take that extra dribble and smash it into the net. That's what I like about Sancho, man. So look, he contributed to a good team goal. Started off with Casemiro, passing it over to Sancho. Sancho finding Martial. And then once we went up 2-0, sorry, in the first half, it was a wrap. But the scoreline didn't quite mimic, you know, that first half. 2-0, it didn't quite mimic it. I just feel like Chelsea was poor. But in the second half, I feel like it was more Manchester United. But don't get me wrong, man, there was frustrating times in this game where Bruno will give away the ball, and I'll get into Bruno in a minute. Bruno will give away the ball and invite direct pressure onto Manchester United's defence because we ain't really got no midfield like that. And I'm just like stressed, but at times, you know, Bruno does what he does and he just creates magic, man. And there was times, you know, where there was poor touches, man. Like our forward line, it definitely needs work. I know we scored 4 goals, but it needs work. The decision making is just still awful. It is terrible, man. There's times where, and the touches, you know, a ball put through to Martial, over touches it. Bruno again, like poor touch. Anthony, poor decision making. There's a time where he should have been picking out, I don't even know who it was, Bruno or something like that. It's just decision making in the box. Poor touches, first touches to set up a clear goal scoring opportunity. It was a myth. It was a myth yesterday, and I said, yeah, it was just a myth in that game against Chelsea. And you're just looking at it like, look, this front three, man, like how many goals? We're the lowest scoring team in the top 4, whatever it is, 5. Like Manchester United's got 50 something on goals, or maybe just 60 now. We've skimmed, and it's just not good enough when you're looking at your cities. You know, they've got probably 20 plus goals more than us. Calais, easy, Arsenal, and all of these teams. And you're looking at Man United, and you're looking at our front three, and we're just like, there's so many games where I'm just repeating the same thing, even though we've got 4 goals. And this sounds weird, but it's just, we just should have so much more. We should have so much more in this game. We should have so much more over the course of the season. And Manchester United's front three really needs revising, man. I feel like, you know, we do need a couple new attackers, man. And Martial, you can't depend on him in terms of his fitness going into a new season. We need to replace him. We ain't replaced Cavani. We ain't replaced Ronaldo. You know, Martial can't stay fit. Weghorst is probably going to be going back. He's not going to be getting signed. Look, there's a couple of strikers that I've mentioned where we need replacing. And that needs replacing. At the end of the day, I don't think one striker is good enough. I really don't feel like one striker is good enough. I feel like we need maybe an accomplished striker like Kane or Osimhen if we can afford him. And then we need someone else that's coming through the ranks, because let's be honest, Greenwood's another guy that I haven't even mentioned really, and he's been a miss as well. That's like 4 forwards. You know what I mean? And it just ain't enough for Manchester United to be going in with 1 forward and thinking it's enough to pose any title threat or challenge or compete in all 4 competitions. So we really do need to be looking at it. And I don't know what our budget is going into the summer, but I've been hearing discussions about we've only got 100 or 150 million plus player sales. But then again, I'm hearing us being linked with Harry Kane and starting early negotiations, knowing that he's going to be costly. I'm hearing that we're looking to go in for that Napoli forward centre-back Kim Min-jae, who we know he's got a buyout clause, and it's going to be about £45 million. And then we're looking at guys apparently like Declan Rice, and we know he's going to cost like 100 million. So Manchester United, I don't know whether we're bluffing or really and truly, like, you know, there was that one season that everyone thought that Arsenal didn't have no money and they just went and spent. And I don't know if it's like, you know, is there, like, who is this money being backed by? Is it like business as usual? Are we going into the credit card? Is Glazers making more money available when they know that they're going to sell? I just don't quite get the logic and the methodology. Or is there been some assurances in the background that a sale has been made, and the new prospective owners just saying, you know what, here's the money up front. Like, I want to start this early, and maybe, the announcement is probably going to be made later on down the line. I don't know where it is. My likely guess is that Glazers are just putting more money and more debt onto the club because they know that the owners is going to buy it out and clear that bill. We're hearing of the Glazers, taking a private jet for them and the family that cost, I don't know, $250,000 upwards or whatever it was. And, usually it cost about 50K to take a private jet trip. So for me, I don't feel like they're worried about putting money onto the club, putting debt onto the club. And look, but we need the reinforcements. We need Declan Rice or Moises Caicedo. We need Harry Kane. Do you know what I mean? If we're going to spend 100 million, I'd rather spend 100 million on a guy that I know is going to deliver. And that's Harry Kane. He's going to deliver. Osimhen is he's a bit more of an unknown. Yes, you might get the longevity out of him, but we just don't know if he's going to be performing over that longevity, performing and getting the goals that we need. And, like, if he is performing like that, then Man United could potentially struggle to keep him, because you're going to have the big boys like Barca, maybe Real Madrid sniffing around the corner. And, these players these days, I mean, loyalty is hard to come by. If the right offer's made, the right wages, they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. So for me, I feel like there's a lot of positives, but there's also negatives as well. I mean, one of the chances where Bruno hit the post, man, Lindelof, man, I love to see it, where he won the ball high up the pitch. He displaced Gallagher, and and he fed the ball into to Bruno, and Bruno just again, like the decision making, he chose power over placing that ball, and he goes and hit the crossbar. This is another goal scoring opportunity which was as clear as day. And Bruno, as much as he's got massive goal contributions this season, and I'm gonna talk about it now, the decision making is poor at times. The losing the ball is poor at times. Like, the retention of the ball is poor at times, and the wastage is just poor. But saying that, Bruno's the guy. He's a mixed bag. He stresses me out, makes all of these mistakes, annoys me, but at the same time, for this team, he is crucial. And Erik ten Hag, as much as we like to say, De Bruyne is better, and he can do all of these things better than Bruno. Look, and Odegaard, same way. Look, Erik ten Hag clearly likes Bruno, and it's not even a case of this is what we've got at the minute, let's make do of it. Like, Bruno's going to be wearing the captain's armband next season. It's highly likely. He's already the captain now. Erik ten Hag likes this guy. The style of play that Erik ten Hag is implemented is obviously the transitional football. We've been linked with Declan Rice now. We want that defensive and energy in the midfield, and Mason Mount again, energy and lungs in the midfield. This is all suited for the transitional play. Overload the box with like 5-6 attackers, and then be ready to track back everyone, defend attackers and a unit 11, defenders are 11. It's the transitional style. It's not the tick-attacker Pep Guardiola style. And for me, Bruno Fernandes fits the mold perfectly, because he gets the ball. He's already seen the picture ahead of him. As soon as he's got that ball, he's spraying that ball, and he's finding his man more time. And there was one time that I saw Bruno sort of collect that ball and swivel, sort of pass it on the outside of the boot, and I was just like, wow. And I know that Bruno gets a lot of stick, and I feel like at the minute right now, it's familiarity with if I said that word correctly, with Bruno. I feel like we've got too used to watching him play, too used to seeing maybe the good stuff and the negative stuff, and just more focusing on the negative stuff that he does over the positive stuff. Because I remember when Bruno first landed at Manchester United, no word of a lie, I already knew. I heard the rumors out there. I've seen the reports that Bruno loses the ball quite a lot. Because I was surprised, Even Ronaldo had to talk up Bruno Fernandes. I was surprised when I was thinking, like, why has nobody really going in for him like that? Look at his numbers that he's churning out for Sporting Lisbon. Look at those numbers. 40-odd goal contribution. It was silly. 30-odd goals season in, season out. And I was just like, why ain't teams all over him like Tottenham was, and then Manchester United? and we're trying to get like pay only like 30 or 20 something million for him. And I was just like, what? With those goal contributions, with his type of talent, it should be a lot more. And then, you know, people are saying, you know, team scouts are like, you know, the reason why they went after him is because he just lost the ball. Like, he lost the ball so much times, and he didn't have that ball retention that a lot of manager was looking for. And he's come to Manchester United and he's shown it, and it's stuff that we already knew when we bought him. But what he does, man, what he does for this team, look, Bruno Fernandes has contributed 26 goal contributions in all competitions, or maybe slightly more now. And he's contributed in the Premier alone, 40% of our goal like contributions is come from Bruno Fernandes. It's come from Bruno Fernandes, and we need to look at that and really need to assess it. Look, he's got 6 goals or 8 assists, or if he's got more, maybe like 7 goals now, maybe 6 or 7 goals. And in like 35 Premier League appearances. Look, and if you do the math, that's about 40% of goal contributions only from Bruno Fernandes. You take Bruno Fernandes out of this squad, I don't know where Manchester United will be. And I feel like people focus a lot on Bruno Fernandes maybe losing the ball or giving it away. Look, quite frankly, Bruno Fernandes is never going to be your Bruno Fernandes, your De Bruyne. He's a high risk, high reward type player. He's always going to get that ball where it's going to be like hotcakes. He's going to get rid of it. And you can see with everything that Bruno Fernandes has done, he's contributed to almost half of our goals. And you need to realize that he's got double-figure goals and assists this season. And you need to think, like, there's a lot of times where Bruno's put balls on a plate for our forwards. I remember talking about him putting through Anthony easily, clean. Anthony ain't got the burners to take the ball. He's there turning around and trying to find a man and breaking up the play. Sancho ain't got the speed and to carry that ball, take guys on. Look, we ain't got forwards that's on the end. Look, Martial is missing opportunities or Rashford, so when Bruno's putting him through in previous game. Now, Bruno Fernandes, if he had the right forwards, if he had a Harry Kane, look, it would be scary to see what type of numbers he's putting up this season. It will be totally scary. Bruno Fernandes, a lot of his assists, you know, goes and miss. A lot of the work that he does goes and miss. And I know people say, oh, it's not just about stats. You know, we need to look past the stat padding. It's more than stats when it comes to Bruno Fernandes for me, because Bruno Fernandes' work rate is immeasurable. It's crazy. His availability, again, playing the most amount of games in the whole 5 top leagues or whatever it was at some point. Maybe it may still be the case now. It's insane. And his pressing game is insane from first minute to 90 minute. Leadership, mentality, top notch. Do you understand? His vision, awareness, goes without saying, it is top notch. He sees the picture and he doesn't really need to look. That's why he's able to get the ball and feed it straight away. His awareness and his vision is top notch. And if he had the success rate that we all want from him, it'll be elite. He'll be like gone with it. You'll be talking about, yeah, your De Bruyne's and all of that in the same category. He's not a De Bruyne, and he doesn't play like De Bruyne. He doesn't retain the ball like that. He's a different style of AMC, in my opinion. I've never compared him to your Odegaards or De Bruyne's. De Bruyne to me is creme de la creme. The class is immeasurable. We saw what he done against Real Madrid. He's on a league of his own. But for me, if you're asking me who I want in this team, Odegaard or Bruno Fernandes, I'm freaking Bruno all day. Bruno all day. Like other AMCs, there's not many that I'm going to be able to say I'll choose them over Bruno Fernandes, even though Bruno Fernandes has all of these mistakes, because Bruno Fernandes right about now is still, with all of their mistakes, one of the best out there. Clearly, he's levels above a lot of our players in our team right about now. Levels above. And I'll say that at chest. He's one of the best in the world. His numbers is ridiculous, and his work rate is ridiculous. A lot of what he does is ridiculous. And I feel like, like I said, I feel like us as Manchester United fans, we've got familiar with his game, and we don't notice the little things, how he speeds up the tempo. We don't notice the little passes, the touches, the flicks, all the good things that he does in the game. We kind of overlook that, and we're looking for, when he loses the ball, we're looking for like bad things, so we could say, yeah, like, you know, he's done it again. He's given away a ball again. Look, for me, this team, I've seen it when Bruno Fernandes hasn't been available, and thank God he's been available for most of the season. I've seen the team without this guy, and it has been a shambles. And for Manchester United, to sort of go without having Bruno Fernandes, we need to make heavy investment. We need to change the forwards and midfield. We need to invest in probably 5-6 players, like guys that can have ball retention, that guys that are press resistant, you know, guys that just gel well together. We can't go and buy 1, 2, 3 players and expect us to not be missing Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes for this system and setup is crucial and vital. So for me, Bruno Fernandes is just a top lad. He's just a top G. So look, what am I going to say about this game so far? I think I've wrapped it up. Last thing I'm going to say, a couple last things I'm going to say is Fofana, mess. I remember when he was being called a Ferrari when he was at Leicester City. Look at him now, man. He gives away that ball, passing it to Chabaloa, poor pass. You know, Sancho nicks it off him, slips it into Rashford. Rashford gets his 30th, by the way. 30th goal of the season, landmark. Big shout outs to Rashford. Do you know what I mean? He had and Bruno Fernandes as well, where he dummies Fofana. Fofana brings him down. Look, Fofana had a mare. This expensive centre back everyone was talking about had a mare, man. And we showed them what it is about. Manchester United punished them. Punish. You can't perform like that against Manchester United, who's trying to qualify for the Champions League. But let me say, Garnacho as well. He came off the bench. And just like Fred did and Scott McTominay, Garnacho showed quality again and signs that he's got that killer instinct. He hit the crossbar. I think he could have even got 2 goals. So I have to rate Garnacho for his sub appearances again, man. I was just sad for him that he didn't get on the score sheet because I really think like he deserved it. But Garnacho, man, off the bench is crucial. I feel like him coming off the bench against a City is going to be crucial for us. So look, the fingers crossed, man. He maintains this spark and this form. But I think the one down off of Manchester United, I would say, is Anthony, man. Look, he looked like in pain, banging his hand against the ground. And I think his season's done. I don't think he makes the final, the FA Cup final. I don't think he plays against Fulham. It is at home. It looked bad. He had to get stretchered off. He tried to stand up, and you could see he couldn't put his full weight on his ankle. So for me, it's not looking good, bruv. He's not going to do this Bruno Fernandes thing where he's shaming a cast on social media, a foot cast, and next minute he's turning up for the game. With all the will in the world with Anthony, I just don't see it happening, man. It just looked really bad. He looked like in terrible pain. So I'm sad. I'm sad that we're going to miss him, because with all of the annoyance that he brings in terms of his decision making and all of that, he has really been one of our biggest threats. Like, whether we like it or not, it reminds me of a B-Tech version of Nani. Nani was class, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing their talents at all. I'm just comparing that thing about when I looked at Anthony. I mean, when I looked at Nani when he was operating at this higher level at that time, and Ronaldo was taking him under his wing. When he was operating at that higher level at that time, there was times when Nani would frustrate me because he goes and shoot the ball where he could have maybe passed the ball, or he does that extra touch or that extra dribble, and it was annoying. But then he comes out with brilliance and he goes on a nice run, beats a couple of men and scores a worldie. And Anthony is less so like that because the type of goal he scores, what type of goal he's going to score is more predictable in that sense. But he scored some class goals, and you see that where the threat is coming down his side, he's a consistent thorn and outlet when we need him. So it's not just bad news for Anthony. Like, it's not just bad things. I do recognize that we've at least got something to talk about with Anthony, unlike certain other players like Donny van de Beek. When he's on the pitch, he goes invisible, or Sancho at times where he goes invisible. At least Anthony is presenting you something where you can discuss about. Rashford, again, presents you with stuff where you can assess and break down and say you ran into the defenders, or you misshot that, or Bruno, he does that all game, where he's always present, he always turns up, and they always have an impact on the game. And that's at least the baseline of what I want to see as a fan, what I want to see from my players having an impact on the game. I remember Welbeck like that as well, where he didn't score goals, but in big games he had an impact. You know what I mean? He's running, he was a thorn. And I just see past that at times. But obviously, Anthony's raw and he's got a lot of improvements to make, And Look, I understand that, and he's putting in the effort, and I'm here for it, man. And hopefully, the next season he can come good and he can start making some better decisions, man. But I do feel that we need a higher caliber of forwards if we're gonna be competing with City, because when I'm looking at City and who they're bringing off the bench, it's a joke, man. It really is a joke, and you need to have some serious players where these men like Anthony, Martial, Sancho, or even guys that you're bringing off the bench and not the starters, man. It really needs to get to that level before I can sit here and say, do you know what, Manchester United is ready and we're on smoke. But look, Manchester United has done the dirts. We've qualified for Champions League. Hopefully, we can see some of the youngers come out and play against Fulham now. I'll be interested to see Kobe Mainoo. I'll be interested to see Garnacho have a start. You know, I'll be interested to see, just some of the youngers come through, man. Like, they deserve it. Palestri, let him have his opportunity as well. He's been starved, deprived. You know, all of these youth, man, that's been trying to knock on the door. I want to see them against Fulham, man. I want to see what they're about, because it will just help give Erik ten Hag and us as fans a bit of joy to see that. It'll be like a nice little exhibition match. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. And also we can rest certain players as well. And it will also give these players a boost of confidence being able to play against a first team, a really good team in Fulham, and show what they're made of, man. See if they can work their way into the first team. See if they can give Erik ten Hag something to think about going into next season. So I'd love to see it. I mean, if I have time, I might bring out a video where I'm just doing like a starting lineup of what that team will look like against Fulham. We'll see if I got that time. But guys, I'm wrapping up here. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts on the game. Let us know who your man of the match was. By the way, my man of the match will be Casemiro again. That blind pass, that shielding of the defense, that forward passing, that goal. Did he get a goal? No, he didn't. Did he get a goal, Casemiro? Yeah, the header. Sorry, he did get a goal. I went blank for a second. The goal and the assist. Look, Casemiro has to be my man of the match. Look, 2 man of the match performances back to back. Can he make it a third and a fourth against Fulham and against City? But guys, remember to like, comment and subscribe. Let me know who your man of the match was. Let me know if you feel that we can even finish third. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Wembley Cup, FA Cup final, Wembley sort of FA Cup final. Let me know who you think is going to be winning that. But until next time, smash a like on the button, man. Share, forward, subscribe, and all of that. Hit the notification. Until next time, peace.